What is up, A plus gang? I am Requin, and I'm here with my partner Bones. As always, you guys know the deal. We're here to talk about the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. First things first, we're going to jump right in and talk about the Texans and the Ravens. Here we got an awesome game. Everybody's looking forward to this. So many people are just on CJ Stroud as a rookie to bring the heat to the best defense in the NFL and the Ravens. Uh, we're going to start with a couple props. I'm going to show you guys some stuff I like. Bones is going to show you guys some stuff he likes. These are all things we've talked about, argued about even a little bit, but we think these are the best bets for you guys to throw out there this weekend. I'm going to start with CJ Stroud for 225 pass yards. You can get that for minus 155 on DraftKings. You guys can see at the bottom right here, this kid is electric. Everybody loves watching him play. And I really like, he gives me hope for the future of football at the quarterback position. He is fantastic. He's gone over this line in all but 4 games this season. And in his rookie debut against the Ravens, very first game of the season, he threw for 242 yards. He's improved in my book, and I really think this is set way too low because the Ravens are without Marlon Humphrey, who is maybe one of the best or the very best cornerbacks over the last 5 years. He's a fantastic guy. A little shout out to outlier.bet for providing us with all kinds of information. I really, really like what they show here. I'm going to give you guys a shot of it right here. Stroud comes to play on the road. He's going to sling the rock and hopefully find some gaps in the Ravens defense and keep this one a tight game. Next, I'm going to let Bones tell you about Gus Edwards.
Man, so we got Gus Edwards today, under 52.5 yards. As you can see below. I mean, again, it's back to the Texans run defense. Last week we took Jerome Ford. This week we're going with Gus. The other reason why I love this play is not only is the Texans run D just insane, but Gus is an inside the box runner. That's where their strength is on a D line, is inside that tackle box. As Derrick Henry couldn't get nothing going. But I just love the play. I mean, you also have Dalvin Cook, who they signed 2 weeks ago, I believe it is now. He got activated off the practice squad. He's going to see a lot of touches, and some say, well, it's Dalvin Cook. He's a shell of himself. He very well could be, but he's going to get those touches Keaton Mitchell was getting. He's going to play that Keaton Mitchell role for this offense, and it's going to be electric. It's going to be fun. Gus will get a lot of work probably at the goal line, but outside of that, Gus is just cooking. He's averaging this, under this line in more than half of his home games this year. So I'm loving this play.
I dig it. I like this one too. That Texans defensive front is tough, man. They come to play, and their linebackers are coached by D'Amico Ryan. Man, he's fantastic. He was a linebacker himself. Denzel Perryman, man, I loved when he was on the Raiders. I wish they'd have never got rid of him. He shows up, man. He gets to the ball. Let's take a look at Gus Edwards on Outlier right here and just kind of see where he's at. As you can see, he's only gone over this line of 52.5 in 3 games at home this season. And granted, a lot of it was against good rush defenses like Detroit and Miami at the time, had a couple injuries. I don't take that too seriously. I think the Texans stuffed this guy as well. Moving on, we're going to jump into the 49ers and Packers game. And Bones is going to piss me off and talk about how Brock Purdy can't throw the ball. So here we go.
Like you said, Brock Purdy can't throw the ball, man. So we got him at 264.5 under on DraftKings. I believe he's under this line in about 4 of the last 5 games. The Packers passed the insanely good this year. We saw it last week. Listen, this is what I'm going to talk about last week. I'm going to talk about my controversial bet real quick. CeeDee Lamb under his yards. Listen, he was getting locked down the whole game. That whole Dallas pass offense was getting locked down. The Packers come to play on pass D. The run game now, on the other hand, awful. And if you don't love this play, I would take his under pass attempts. I like the under at, I think it's at 30.5, maybe 31.5 on some books. I would take the under on that. I think we have a 9.5 point spread. That's massive for McCaffrey and for the run game to get going. I can see this game being like a 2 touchdown blowout. So if that's the case, you may not even see Brock Purdy for half the fourth quarter or maybe more. Love this place. Is my favorite play.
No doubt, no doubt. Outliers got supporting stats here to confirm all that. You guys want to take a look real quick. You can see here that in his last five starts, uh, I'm sorry, in his last four games, and then he didn't play against the Rams. He hasn't really had to sling the rock the way he has at home in other situations. Uh, I think this is really solid, even though I'm a Brock Purdy guy, and I am very excited to see these guys continue to ascend as maybe the most dominant NFC team for the next few years. These guys are good. All right, moving on. I'm going to talk about a Packers player that I actually really like. Uh, it's Quicklin called this stuff out months and months and months ago at the start of the season when we were talking about drafting our handicappers fantasy football league. He's like Luke Musgrave. This guy wants to play. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. He's got great hands. Unfortunately for the Packers, he got injured a little bit into the season. He is back and he's reestablishing himself as the number one tight end in Green Bay. I'm going to take him for over 17 and a half yards, which is a criminally low line. This dude has gone over in 6 out of 6 away games. He showed last week against the Cowboys he can go for the long ball. He had a touchdown, 80 plus receiving yards, and he faces the 49ers 15th ranked receiving yards allowed to tight ends. These guys will probably be playing from behind and dealing with a lot of pressure up front from Chase Young, Nick Bosa. The pressure is going to be a lot. Jordan Love will have to get the ball out quickly, and he'll probably get some catches like on release route. Block, block, block. Here comes the ball. 17 and a half yards is ridiculous. If you want to see what Outlier has to say about that, check this out. 6 out of 6 games on the road, this dude has crushed this line by nearly double in all except one. His yardage is great against Dallas, Pittsburgh. All these guys are really, really uh, are making moves. They're young. The Packers want to get out there and sling the rock, get Jordan Love to do some things. I think this line is low, and you should definitely play it. All right. Moving on, we have the Lions and the Bucks. Another tight end who I've been really impressed with here, guys, is, of course, Sam Laporta. I'm going to take him for over 41 and a half receiving yards. He is maybe the future at this position. He might be the next Travis Kelce. We'll see. I don't know if that can be the case with Jared Goff throwing the ball, but maybe. We'll definitely see if that's the case. But this guy, when he's at home, he really gets after it. I'll show you a little thing here, and that's right here. Laporta at home. They find a way to get him and Jameer Gibbs the rock. I feel like uh, the Bucks rush defense is fairly tough, and they are going to put some limitations on David Montgomery. This should open up some passing game stuff for Laporta as Amon Ra wreaks havoc. These receiving yards, even if he gets only 2 or 3 catches, are probably going to line out into a way that benefits the Lions a lot. All right. Moving on. I know you guys know this about me. I'm not a huge Bucks fan, but this line's pretty good. But Bones is going to tell you about
So I do love that Laporta play. I think that's great. He's going to smack, crush. So I'm going with Baker Mayfield over 21 and a half completions. Um, when the Bucks played the Lions earlier this year, I believe he had 19 completions, but he had 37 pass attempts. His efficiency was awful in that game. Awful. And that was at week 5. That offense has gotten better. They got the camaraderie going. They're going to get rolling. Um, the Bucks game is probably my favorite game. I think this game is going to be another like the Rams game. It's going to be a shootout where the Bucks are strong, whereas passing the Lions are very weak. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good game. Baker Mayfield 21 and a half. A lot of books have this at 22 and a half. I don't like it at 22 and a half. I don't think he gets that 23. So this is going to be a great play. But lock this in. This is a smack play.
Oh, I'm over Baker season. I can't tell you guys enough how long I was a fan and supported him and just was like, he's gonna do great, guys. And then he just failed. Oh, you better choke, Baker. Oh, sorry. Anyway. Oh, all right. Uh, next, we got Isaiah Pacheco under 3.5 receptions. Uh, let Bones tell you a little bit about that.
So we got Pacheco, like you said, under the 3.5. It's minus 136 on FanDuel. DraftKings has the same line, but they have it almost at 170. I think it's like minus 166. So the value here is real good. Like I said last week to this week, DraftKings super, super sharp on player props, whether it's for NBA, NHL, NFL, all of it. They're very sharp. They're probably one of the sharpest, if not the sharpest book for player props. Pacheco's under this line in 9 of his last 10 away games. He's just averaging 3 targets per game. That's less than the reception line that they have. I don't think, the worry is, Detroit's got an okay defense when it comes to allowing running backs to receive the ball. But I really don't think. I think we're going to be in a good spot with this game. I think it's going to be a hard run game, a hard pass. Rice is going to see the ball. Kelsey's going to see the ball. Tony might be back. We're just loving this receptions line. Like I said, and right there in the outlier prop, he's only over the line once in the last 10. That's just money if I ever seen it.
It's really solid value. I can't disregard that, even though I picked Isaiah Pacheco as one of the breakout running backs this year. He has struggled in this regard. The Bills' defense has been playing lights out football. That's right. I said it. Nobody believes it when I talk about the Bills because I don't. But this is a good line, and I think that the Bills are going to stymie the Chiefs here a little bit, uh, and there's some real value there. All right. Last but not least, I'm going to tell you guys about James Cook over 2.5 receptions, minus 136. Pretty simple here. The Chiefs' defense has been standing up. Chris Jones is a monster. George Karlaftis, this kid might be the future defensive end that changes everything. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. They are going to have some release routes into the flat. Gabe Davis is out with a knee injury. James Cook has gone over this line in 6 of his last 10 games. He averages 3 catches per game as well. Without Gabe Davis on the field, there's about 15% of the target share left to be divvied up around the rest of the players. Uh, Last time, I think Cook went for 83 yards against the Chiefs, and you should definitely anticipate this kind of thing happening a lot tomorrow or Sunday with Gabe Davis out. There's just too much on the line for the Bills not to use their best players as much as they possibly can. You can see here that Cook has gone over in 6 of his last 10. More nobly, though, when uh, the Bills played the Steelers, Cook caught 4 of 4 targets, and that was one of those forced situations because Gabe Davis wasn't out there to stretch the field. I think we see something very similar again, and I think you should definitely put your money on that. All right, guys. We're going to go down to me and Bones' best bets. Unfortunately, I got clipped last week. I was a little overconfident, and Tyreek, and Tua just like playing catch. They did get shut down. L'Jarius Sneed and those guys, they did a great job. Uh, Hats off to the Kansas City secondary last week because shutting down Tua, Waddle, and Tyreek is an impressive feat. And Mike McDaniel should get a foot in his ass for that bullshit. So my best bet this week is going to be 49ers minus 7.5 at minus 136. This is pretty standard line on any book you can get access to, as long as there are alternatives. I think this is a little safer, and I'm willing to pay the juice. 10 points is a lot, especially when the Packers have covered plus 9.5 in every away game this season. Still, I think the Niners are too much. There's too much talent. There's too much good personnel. They could just rotate and rotate and rotate. and it doesn't matter because all of a sudden you got a really talented guy who isn't tired, and he's going to get you. Uh, Lock that one in. I'm definitely going to be riding this one with the chunk. Here's Bone's best bet.
So I got the Bucks. I'm on the Bucks this week. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a shootout game. The Bucks are awesome. You know, let's go back to the game they had earlier this year, late into the third quarter, maybe even early fourth quarter. It was a 10-6 game. That game finished 20-6. Baker's efficiency, like I said earlier, 19 completions on 37 attempts. That's insane. It's unheard of. Unheard of. So
Yeah.
I like the Bucks defense this week. I think they're going to give the Lions some fits with the run game. Uh, their pass game hasn't been that great all year, but they seem to be putting it together a little bit these last few weeks. Not saying they're great by any means, and I think the Lions have a great offensive scheme that it's going to just destroy that Bucks team again. But they did that in the first game. Goff went for 300 plus yards, and that game was only 20-6. Let Baker start getting some yards, getting some touchdowns thrown. It's this is a game where it's the line is at 6.5. We bought half the point for the juice, and we're just gonna ride with it. Love the Bucks +7. Went 1-0 last week with the best bet. Let's make it 2-0 going into this week.
No doubt, no doubt. I really, really struggle with supporting the Bucks, man. But I do think you make a lot of really good, valid points. Baker has been on fire. He went from being this guy that nobody wanted at the helm to a guy that these guys are rallying behind. He's been throwing good balls. He's got two of the best receivers in football still, in Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and they're looking to max out their opportunities against a crappy Lions secondary. So those are our best bets. A little side note: we're going to throw this out here, just like last week. Dankel's Saturday NHL pick is going to be the Stars versus the Devils, under 6.5 total goals. He hit last week on the best bet with the Hurricanes money line, and we always look forward to getting his insight into the games that are coming. Great dude, love his reads. I think this one's definitely worth putting some money on. All right, guys, that's going to wrap us up. We're looking forward to these games just as much as you guys are. I'm going to really encourage you guys to come to the Discord, come check it out, get a free week. Sometimes you'll get 2 free weeks if the boss man calls it cool. If not, it's very cheap. We are partnered up with outlier.bet. They are a great support system. They have great research and analysis tools, and you're really doing yourself a disservice if you do not use them to help you find the bets that you like. In the meantime, you guys enjoy yourself this weekend. Me and Bones are out. You guys have a good rest of your day. Chase profits, not odds, and let's get this money.